Hi CornerforCoaches, I'm Nicole Booysen, sports science student at the University of Stellenbosch. I'll be taking this video today on strength and conditioning. Hope that you enjoy! These are just a few things to consider as a strength and conditioning coach. There are many more aspects, but because of the limited time, we're only going to cover 4 of them. So firstly, we have communicate to your athletes and the coaching team, build relationships, be willing to listen and be flexible. And then lastly, we have technique. I will now give brief explanations of each of these components. Alright, so our first component that we're going to talk about that we need to consider is communication. Now, communication has various channels in sport. As you have your athlete or your athletes, you can do it individual sessions or as a team, and you have your coaching team, for example, your head coach, your assistant coach, etc. So these channels between you as a strength and conditioning coach and the athlete, and vice versa, so the athlete or the athletes to you, and the coaching team to you, and you to the coaching team. This is all channels of communication that needs to be considered, as you want everyone to be on the same page as soon as you start your annual training plan. So what I would do is I would communicate to these individuals about what you're striving for, what your end goal would be, and just run them through what your annual plan looks like so that everyone is on the same page before they start this strength and conditioning training plan. So our second component that we need to consider as a strength and conditioning coach would be building relationships. This is very, very important, as we know that trust in our daily lives and in sport is also an important factor that contributes to an improved performance. Say, for example, your athlete has an underlying injury, but they're too scared to tell you. This would influence the entire strength and conditioning annual plan. Therefore, you need to build a relationship with these athletes, coaching teams, where you can talk about things, where you can discuss these aspects that contribute to an improved performance. So build these relationships, build trust, listen to what your players have to say. This will be discussed in the next component, but be willing to listen. Our third component would be willing to listen and be flexible. This can be simply seen as be willing to listen, or it can be seen as being open-minded and flexible. So being willing to listen is very important, as when your athlete has a problem, they need to discuss this problem with you. So be willing to open up, be willing to listen, be willing to be open-minded, as this will create the special relationship between you and the athlete. And this relationship is very important, as it not only contributes to building relationships, but also contribute to building communication. So it's this entire cycle that it forms. So be willing to listen and be flexible. So with flexibility, everything changes. Overnight, something can change. Your athlete can wake up the next day, overslept, late for a session, etc., etc. So there is a lot of factors that can change. So be flexible, be ready to change your program. Your athlete can wake up and have cramps. Your athlete can, say for example, go for a jog the previous day and hurt their ankle. And through this, you need to be flexible. You need to consistently change your program to adapt to the circumstances that you're in. Our final component that we need to consider as a strength and conditioning coach is technique. So on this slide show, you'll see that I said technique. It's because it's a very, very important aspect. Because in strength and conditioning, technique is sometimes neglected by the athlete, as they are only thinking about how many reps they can do, how fast they can do the repetitions, etc. So you as a coach need to talk to your team, encourage them to think about the technique, to keep the right technique throughout the movement, as this is the key that contributes to enhanced performance and to enhanced muscle size. So technique, it is very, very important. So this is just a few simple examples of exercises that you can do with your athletes if you don't have the necessary equipment to do more advanced exercises. So firstly, we have the squat. The squat develops the posterior chain, for example, the glutes and the hamstrings. So this is a very, very simple and easy movement to do with an athlete, and it helps a lot with your posterior chain. Secondly, we have the reverse lunge. This is also more in the posterior chain, and it helps to avoid injury, and it's working on muscle recruitment and balance. So also a very nice exercise. Thirdly, we have the lateral lunge. Now this is an exercise that works on muscles that is not usually worked on in normal exercise. So these muscles includes the hips, the glutes, the adductors and the abductors. So this is also a very important and easy drill or exercise that you can do with your athletes. Then we have push-ups. So push-ups works on the upper body and core stability. So it focuses on the arms and the core. So it is important to maintain tension throughout the body and slowly lower your body towards the ground. Then push back up to the starting point. So it's important to keep this tension as it works on the upper body muscles and the core, and it is a very, very nice and simple exercise. Lastly, we have the plank. Now planks are the stability exercise where tension is maintained throughout the body. So you have to focus to not drop your hips. You need to hold the tension in your body. So it is very important, and the muscles that it works on is the core, the upper body and the glutes. So it's a very nice and broad exercise that works on more than one muscle group.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos like these.